Well, what's going on, YouTube? Welcome back to a Therapeutic Edge. It is nice to have you here. Today's video is not really a review, although we are going to review this knife. It's more just a discussion. I love old ZTs. I love the stuff that, for the last 10 or 12 years made us go, oh man, I want that. And ZT seems to have given up. I legitimately don't know what's going on. The folks at Kai Industries, the people that are the sort of running ZT, just don't seem to care anymore. And it's a shame because, we'll get to this in just a second, I promise. The folks at ZT brought us things like this. This is the 0300. This is a Ken Onion design. It is titanium and G10. It's S30V, but I mean, it's just a monster of a knife. Now this is assisted, but I'll tell you, the assist bar in here, the actuating bar, is basically a car part. It is really big. They gave us stuff like this Hinderer design. This is the 0560. This is LMAX. It is titanium and G10 with titanium liners. This is a spectacular big knife. I love this thing. Mine has been modified a little bit. You'll see some of my other ones are modified as well. I tend to get them a little beat up and then I clean them up and I do what I have to. So this has got titanium spacers and titanium screws and a titanium pivot. Beyond that, that's just sort of the way, the carbon fiber. I love stuff like this. This is the ZTO 200. This is a funky knife. Big, sort of thick and cool, big recurve on the blade. This is 154 cm, but it's really comfortable. But it's a monster, right? Coming forward a little bit in time, because these are very old at this point. Let's move these over here. For a while there, they were making this. This is the ZT 0920, and to this day, this is one of the factory knives that I use to compare other knives against when it comes to action, fit and finish, and comfort in hand. The 0920 is, you can see I've put an aftermarket clip on it, is by any measure a spectacular pocket knife. I know some people don't like the recurve, but it is a really nice thick slice of CPM 20 CV brought down to a nice edge. The milling on the all titanium scales is beautiful. This is just a great pocket knife, and they don't make this anymore. Recently, oh, and one more. The 0551. This one is, again, been modified by me a little bit. I put a carbon fiber scale on it and put titanium screws, and you can see I modified it a bit, put a different pocket clip on it, but because I got it, it was pretty beat up. This is a small, by comparison to these other ones, this is a smaller knife, but this is still a fantastic pocket knife. In recent years, they've given us, a good knife, and this is the 0308. I put an aftermarket scale on here because from the factory it came with this sort of coyote brown, let's face it, it was baby poop. But the 0308 is clearly supposed to be in the same vein as the 0300 without the recurve, and that is not a bad choice. It is 20 CV, it's a better steel, it's a nice big knife, right? I put an aftermarket clip on it again because that's what I do. But then they put this hole right at the pivot. This is supposed to be a hard use outdoor field knife, and then in a fit of stylistic choice, they put a hole right at the pivot, right where you would least want crap to get into the knife. I mean, I know you can always get in through the back, but this is, what is this? A high-speed, low-drag vent? It's not like I'm flipping the knife open fast enough for it to heat up. That doesn't make any sense. And in a very similar vein, they brought us this, the 0223. Now, this knife got a really bad rap. I've dyed out the weird sort of brown scale piece back here, kind of a dark red. This knife should have been a total win. I mean, it looks a little funky. It's like it's trying a little bit too hard for kind of a World War II vibe. I get that, but it's really comfortable. And the 20 CV blade is really slicey. And except then they went ahead and they punched these, there you go, you can see them right there, these weird speed holes right up against the scales for no reason. It just makes it look like that's a place where if you needed to apply any pressure, this would break. I've never seen one break, but I get why. And it came, like I said, with this sort of coyote brown or green, I can't remember what it was. This is two pieces of sort of G10 or plastic that fit over the scale. They just made these weird choices that, so at Blade Show Atlanta 19, I was actually there when ZT announced this knife, and they made a big deal about it at their booth, and they came out and they held this up, and the crowd went, what? Seriously, it was not good. And that's a shame, because if they hadn't punched these weird little holes in this knife, this is a really nice pocket knife. I mean, and they had done something a little different with the scales. It is a really nice knife. It's very comfortable, it's very slicey, it's really good in the pocket, even with this sort of non-deep carry clip. It's got a very comfortable, ergonomics are really good. It's got nice jimping. They just, I don't know. And both of these were $300 or more. I love ZT knives, even the ones that are a little weird. But I wish they would start again. I really do. I mean, I feel like they've sort of given up on us, and that's a shame, because for a while there, they were making some phenomenal stuff, and that's where this comes in. This is the ZT0095. Now, this does look very reminiscent of a number of Kershaws that were out there at the time, and maybe that was the problem. This is a sprint run in Tiger Stripe, which they do love to do. I used to have an 0301 in Tiger Stripe, but I got rid of it when I got my 300 here. In S90V, it's really good. Like, comfortable, very slicey, right? It's got a nice tall blade, comes down to a very nice edge. Now, I know the Tiger Stripes aren't going to be for everybody, but they have this. Make it again. Oh, and I want to point out, please be careful if you go looking for one of these. Right now, for $65, you can find this exact knife, except not this knife, on AliExpress. So watch yourself. I went ahead and did some investigation before I picked this up. I know where it came from. So that sucks, but know that that's happening. So there are clones of this floating around out there. I love this knife. I really do. I'm going to replace the pocket clip with a deep carry because that's what I do. But beyond that, I mean, this is competitive in pretty much every way with knives that are available right now. These were relatively inexpensive when they came out a number of years ago, but this is a $250 knife all day long. They could make these in a good blade steel and compete. They could make, well, they'd have to update some of these quite a bit, but I mean, they could make these. They could make this. So let's get some basic specs out of the way on the 0095. Just cause. The 095, look at that, gave you a 3 3/4 inch blade of cutting on actually slightly 1.5 inches because of the shape of the scale of S90V. The grip area from behind the flipper there is 1, 2, 3, and just about 3.5. So my finger rolls off just a little bit, but not much. It's not enough to be uncomfortable. The knife itself, from tip to tail, is a little over 8 1/4. Closed length is just at 5, or a little bit under 5 inches, it's a decent sized knife. Pocket profile, Yeah, it's got a weird shape to it. We're coming in over 1.5 inches at its thickest. You're definitely going to know it's there, and it's got a fairly decent and aggressive flipper on it. So you're not going to want to have your phone down there with this, but I carry my phone in my other pocket anyway. The stock clip is really not deep carry. You know, that's okay. But for $30, you can get a deep carry clip for one of these on MXG, for instance, that will make it that fit nice up to this edge and make it a really nice deep carry. You can do that. But in the meantime, it's a perfectly functional stamped steel pocket clip. It's got good spring, good ramp, lots of room in there for a thick pair of jeans. This knife comes in at well shy of a 1/2 inch. Just shy of a 1/2 inch, so it's reasonably thin this way. The action is very good. And look at this blade. It's gorgeous, right? Really pokey, in case you needed to get into something like that. For push cuts, of course. It's got lots of belly for draw cuts. You know, this is a really, really nice knife design, and I'm sort of bummed that I've never had one of these before, because it goes with my other weird old ZTs, right? My classics, as it were. And the new stuff, too. You know, I wish very much that ZT would come back and bring us stuff like this. I really do. Because I think that they can be competitive in today's market. In a world full of small companies, you know, that are making a lot of knives in titanium and carbon fiber and you know, all sorts of stuff. I mean, a modernized version of this, right? The 0560 in micarta, right? They could thin it down a little bit. They could even, I mean, come on, right? That would be fantastic. Or just go for it and make a version of the 0920. You could even maybe get rid of that little bit of recurve and make the non-recurve folks happy, but you could keep this beautiful blade shape. So, as I said, where'd it go? This is like $320 now. Yeah, okay, but you know, this is a $300 knife in today's market. It really is. So, I'm still gonna buy ZT stuff. When they make stuff that interests me, I will. And I will continue to hunt for sort of now long discontinued gems like this for the collection, because it just makes me happy. Look at the milling. Can you guys, is that going to show up? Yeah, there's milling all along here. It's freaking fantastic. Milling up here too. In the meantime, be careful of clones and keep chasing what you like, right? I mean, ZT made enough interesting stuff that if you want one, go get it. But just keep your eyes open for the fakes. And in the meantime, should ZT be watching? Because, you know, why wouldn't they be? Yeah, they're not watching. Dear ZT, you've got an existing fan base. You've got history. You've got people that want your knives. So what are you doing? All right, we're going to wrap it up there. Let me know down in the comments, if you would. What's your favorite ZT knife? I'm curious. I don't have really a... Well, okay, my favorite ZT knife is probably the 0920. But I love them sort of all equally. And the 0095 as a new addition is equally welcome. But let me know what you like down below. Or if you hate ZT, let me know that too. I'd be curious to know why. I know they had some lockup problems in the middle there, early 2000s, but none of these have that problem, and I've yet to come across one that did, so that's just me. Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed this look at my little esoteric and weird ZT collection. I have others, but these are the ones that really wanted to come out of the roll today and share with you guys. So once again, let me know what ZT you like, or if you don't like ZT at all, down in the comments, and we'll see you next time.